So I see some of you guys joining the stream. You're welcome back once again to our live session today. So you're welcome back once again. Do all to share the video out so that others can also get a benefit to join us. In that case, make sure to share and then like the video. So if today is your first time on this channel, do all to subscribe to the channel and then share it out. Please let's share the video so that others will get a benefit to join us. So yesterday we begin with a revision questions on the overview and nature of business mathematics with business application. So today we are continuing with revision exercise 2 as a next step ahead of what we discussed yesterday. So without further ado, let's get going with that. So let me share my board and then let's get started. Please share the video out so that others will join us in that case. So I want to begin from question number 20 because yesterday we were able to discuss from question number 1 to 20. So we are continuing from 21 in that line. So if you haven't watched the previous video, please do all to watch after this video. Make sure to go through that revision, practice question overview and nature of business mathematics so that at the end of the day, you'll be better when it comes to answering these questions as a basis to actually understand business mathematics in that line. So let's get started and let's start. So this is our first question. Question 21 happens to be our first question. We are asked to simplify 7 whole number, 1/8 minus 3 whole number, 1/6. So how do you go by the simplification of this? Let's see how we get this done. So to simplify this, very simple. You must first of all express what the mixed fraction to what improper fraction. So we'll multiply what 7 by 8. We are getting 56 plus 1. You're getting what 57. So we're having what 57 out of what 8. So you change it from mixed fraction to improper what fraction. So that is the first approach. Minus. So we also do same here. 3 multiplying 6, we are getting 18 plus 1, we are getting what? 19. So we have what? 19 out of what? 8. Excuse me a bit, come in. So let's continue. As I was saying, so once you get 57 out of 8 and then 19 out of 8, the next thing is to find what? The LCM. So what is the least common multiple? Sorry, here should be rather 6 and not 8. It should be 6. So here should be what? 6, right? So that is 19 out of what? 6. So we find the least common multiple between the two and we are getting what? So LCM, you should be able to arrive at what? 24. So 8 goes in 24 how many times? 3. 3 multiplying 57, you are getting what? 171. You can check with your calculator as well. 6 goes in 24 how many times? It is 4. 4 multiplying 19, you are getting what? 76. So at the end of the day, this is what we're going to have. We're going to have what? 171 minus 76 and then divided by what? 24. So at the end of the day, you should be able to arrive at what? 95 out of what? 24. 95 out of what? 24. 24. So at the end of the day, you need to convert this to what? A mixed fraction. So you should be able to arrive at what? 3 whole number 23 out of what? 24. You can confirm it to a calculator and let's see if that is true. And that's going to give you option what? That is option C. That is option C. So let's take note of that. Let's move on to question number 22. 7 minus 4 whole number 2 out of what? 5. 7 minus 4 whole number 2 out of, so this also follows the same thing. Here we want to understand our board mass. Okay, so we have 7 minus 4 whole number 2 out of what? 5. Okay, so this is what we're going to get. We have 7 here minus. So we change this mixed fraction to improper fraction. So 5 multiplying 4, we are getting what? 20 plus 2. We are getting what? 22, right? So that's going to give us what? 22 out of what? 5. So here is out of 1. So we find LCM. 1 goes to 5 how many times? That is 5. 5 multiplying 7, we are getting what? 35. Okay, minus 5 goes to itself 1, multiplying 22, you are getting what? 22. So at the end of the day, we should be able to arrive at what? So when you take 22 from 35, you should be able to arrive at 13 out of what? 5. And that should give you what? 2 whole number, 3 out of 5. That should give you 2 whole number, 3 out of 5. 2 whole number, 3 out of 5. And that should be option what? D. That should be option D. So let's take note of that. Question number 23. We have to simplify this. 31.7 plus 6 plus 2.8 divided by 0.254. So to do this, first of all, we need to think about our board mass. We need to think about our board mass. So what does the board mass say? Bracket first, okay? So bracket first, if bracket first, then we don't have any bracket here, move on to off. Do you have any off here? No. So we move on to what? Division. But before that, the numbers that we can add is going to be 31 plus 7 plus what? 6. It's only these two numbers that we can what? Add. So once we add the two numbers, we keep it there, and then we divide 2.81 by what? 0.254. So with the help of a calculator, you should be able to get, when you add 31.7 plus 8, you should be able to arrive at what? 37.7, right? Plus, then when you divide 2.81 divided by 0.25, you should be able to get, in decimal, you should be able to get, in 3 decimal place, I had 3.063. 3.06 what? 3. So when you add the two, so you first of all need to divide these two numbers, okay? Before whatever you get, you add to the summation of 31.7 plus what? 6. And that should fetch you a total of what? 48.763. And from the options here, you can totally see that we don't have any option that actually made this, and that should be option what? E. So you have option E as possible answer, then you circle it. Okay, so let's take note of that. Let's move on to question number 24. We are asked to subtract 5.485 from what? 12. 5.485 from 12. So how do you go by this? So straight up, you tell us that 12 minus what? 5.485. These are the basic things that we need to know. Of course, if you might think it's easy to go, but the least thing you make a mistake, you get this what? Wrong. So you are subtracting this from this. What should be the end result? You should be able to arrive at what? Even 5 from 12, you are getting 7. So when you take into account the decimal part of the issue, then we are getting 6.515. That is what I got for my case, 6.515. And that should be option what? D. That should be option D. Now, question 25. Dividing 10,000 is the same as multiply by. So when you want to divide 10,000 by a certain number, it's the same thing as what? It's the same thing as multiplying by what? 1 over what? 10,000. So when we multiply 1 over 10,000 by x, we are getting what? Because the 1 will multiply what? The x, and we are getting x over what? 10,000. Or better, so you say that x divided by what? 10,000. So they are the same actually. So when you are dividing 10,000, the same thing as to multiplying by what? 1 over what? 10,000. That should be option what? B. And we are off. Now, 26. Jenna baked a delicious apple pie. John, so that was a cake or pie that Ginny actually baked for. That was a delicious apple pie. It goes on to tell us that John ate 1 over 4 of it. So let's say the total pie in terms of fraction should be what? 1. So total pie baked in terms of fraction should be equal to what? 1. And it goes on to tell us that John ate 1 over 4 of it. So for us to know the amount of pie that John ate from the Ginny cake that he baked, right? That's going to be 1 over 4. Of means what? Multiplication. So 1 over 4 multiplying what? 1. And we should be able to get what? 1 over 4. Let's continue. It says that is an Ado also ate 1 over 2 of what's left. So after John, who ate 1 over 4 out of it, the remaining, Ado also actually took 1 over 2 of what was left at the end of the day. Is that okay? So to do this too, we need to find what the remaining or the remainder of what was left after John took his part, all right, of the apple pie. Is that okay? So to know the amount of what pie left, it tells us that amount remaining, because of my space, let me make use of this. So amount of pie remaining should be equal to 1 minus what? The amount that John actually ate, and that should be 1 over 4, taken from 1, and you should be able to get what? 3 over 4. And you should be able to get 3 over 4. So this amount that is what? Remaining at the end of the day. So out of this, that Adu also ate what? 1 over what? 2. Ate 1 over 2. So there's a remainder, right? So let me bring that one here. So I also say that Adu amount that he also took from this delicious pie cake is going to give us what? 1 over 2 of the remainder, which is what? 3 out of 4. And that should give us what? So 1 multiplying 3, 2 multiplying 4, we are getting what? 3 out of what? 8. We are getting 3 out of what? 8. So this part of what Ado also ate from what? Ginny what? Cake. Is that okay? So the question is asking us how much pie was left after Ado ate his piece of what? The apple cake. And that should be equal to, so the amount left should be equal to the remainder that after John's own, and that was what? 3 over 4. Okay. Then you subtract that of what? Ado's own. Because he said, well, he also ate 1 over 2 off. So off means multiplication, multiplied by the remainder. So you subtract John's own from, which is what? 3 out of 8. So you find LCM, which is 8. 4 goes into 8 times 2. 2 multiplying 6, we are getting what? 2 multiplying 3, we are getting 6, sorry. And then 8 goes to self 1. Multiplying 3, we are getting 3. So then we're going to get what? 3 out of what? 8. So 3 out of 8 becomes the amount of what? Cake that was left after John and then Ado, who took part of what? The cake, or ate part of what? The cake. And that should be 3 out of 8. Sorry for the presentation, because of my board space and because of the setting up, that's why I'm not able to use my normal board, but I'm rather using the PDF as a way to write. So sorry for the presentation actually. So that's 26. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section and I'll be grateful to read that. 27. It takes a bus 3 whole number 1 over 4 hours to travel from Toronto to Paris Sound. Okay. Then if the bus averages 88 kilometers per hour, how far is it to Toronto to Paris what? Sound? So we want to know the distance from Toronto to what? Paris what? Sound, in terms of what? The distance between. We know the hours, we know the average. So you tell us that to find the rate of, or to find the speed is equal to average speed is equal to the distance over what? Time. It's equal to the distance over what? Time. It's equal to the distance over time. So we know the average speed to be equal to what? 88, right? That's kilometer per hour. We know the distance wasn't given, so we have D as D, but we know the time to what? 3 whole number 1 over 4, and that should give us what? 3.25. 1 over 4 is the same as 0.25, right? So I don't know, they want to make D the subject, so I'll bring it here by saying that D should be equal to, so here is out of 1, D will multiply 1, then 3.25 multiply what? 88. So we are getting what? 88 multiplying what? 3.25. 3.25. So what are we getting as distance? So with my case, I had a distance of what? 2. I had a distance of 286 kilometer. 286 kilometers. That's the distance actually that we are finding. But you look at this option, you can clearly see that we don't have what? Any kilometer. So here it takes you back to your basic school, for which you know that in terms of meters, we know that 1,000 meters fetches what? 1 kilometer. So we tell us that if I want to deal with meters actually. So if 1,000 meters is fetching me 1 kilometer, then what is 286 kilometer, right? Meaning that that should what? 286 multiplying what? 1,000 and then divide by 1. And we should be able to get what? 286,000 meters. And that should what? Option what? A. So you convert from kilometer to what? Meters, and you're going to arrive at what? 286,000 what? Meters. And that should be what? A. So let's take note of that. Question number 28, sorry. We have to find the missing term. 4/7 is equal to 28 over what? So here it's more of what? A proportion. It's more of a proportion. So I have 4 out of what? 7. And that should be equal to 28 out of what? So I represent the question mark with X, right? So I'll solve for X. So what I'm going to do here is to cross multiply. The 4 multiply X, the 7 will multiply or 28, okay? So we have 4 multiplying X, and that should be equal to 7 multiplying what? 28. So I'll divide both sides by 4 since I want to find 4. And what am I getting? Remember, 4 can go to 20 how many times? 7, right? So 7 multiplying 7, we are getting what? 49. So S equal to what? 49. And that should be option what? A. That should be option A. And some of you guys joining the stream, you're welcome back. Please do well to share the video, like it as well. If today is the first time on this channel, do well to like the video and then share in that line. So thank you for joining us in today's what? Discussion or section. Let's move on to question number 29. Question number 29. So question number 29, we have A out of 10, and that should equal to what? 0.57. So 8 out of 10, A out of 10 is equal to 0.547. So this one choose the same thing. So A is equal to what? A is equal to what? So we can say that 0.57 can be out of what? 1, right? So multiply A by 1, multiply 10 by what? 0.57, right? So cross multiplication. So A multiplying 1, and that should be equal to 10 multiplying what? 0.57. And what are we getting at the end of the day? We can say that A should be equal to what? 5. 5 phone number, 7 out of 10. Okay, so I think there was a network issue. So that has been fixed. Let's continue. Let me share my screen. All right, so you can write in this form 5.7 or 5 phone number, 7 out of 10. And that should fetch you what? Option what? C. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. Then question number 30. Express the following product in lowest what terms. Express the following product in lowest terms. So how do you do that? So we can say that first of all, we need to change what the mixed fraction to what? An improper fraction. So 4 multiply 3, we are getting 12 plus 1, we are getting what? 13. So that's going to give us what? 13 out of 4. Okay. Multiplying 1 out of 7, multiplying what? 8. All right. Remember, here is out of 1. The 8 is out of 1. So 4 can go to itself 1, can go to 8 how many times? 2. So we have here to be 2, going itself to what? 1. Okay. So I don't know, when you multiply that of what? 13 by 2, we are getting what? 26. So we have 26 out of 7. And that should fetch you what? 7 goes to 26 how many times? That should be what? 3 whole number. That is 21. So 3 whole number, 5 out of what? 7. 3 whole number, 5 out of 7. And do we see that as an option in here? That is no. So we go for what? None of what? These. We go for none of these. So let's take note of that. 31, we have to simplify this. We have to simplify this. We have 2 minus 1 over 4 divided by 3 minus 1 over 5. So here, we tell us that we find the LCM. So that becomes 2 minus 1 over 4 divided by 1. Okay, so the LCM is going to what? 4. And then divide by, because of the space, I'm using this. So you have to have 3 out of 1 minus 1 out of 5. You also find what the LCM, which is equal to what? 5. Okay, so 1 goes to 4 how many times? 4 multiplying 2, you are getting 8 minus 4 goes to itself 1. Multiplying 1, you are getting what? 1 here. Okay, so we're going to have here to what? 7 out of 4 divided by, so 5, 1 goes to 5 how many times? 5. 5 multiplying what? 3, we are getting what? 15 minus 5 go to itself what? 1. Okay, 1 multiplying what? 1 multiplying 1, we are getting what? 1. And then the day, what are we getting? We are getting what? We are getting 14 out of what? 5. Okay, so let me bring it down. So I will say that 7 out of 4 divided by what? 14 out of what? 5. So in the simplest form, at any time two fractions are divided, you find the reciprocal of what? The other. You find the reciprocal of what? The other. So in this line, it's going to give us what? 7 out of 4 multiplying. So we find the reciprocal of what? The denominator, and that's going to give us what? 5 out of what? 14. So to find reciprocal of a number, if I have x out of y and I'm finding reciprocal of this fraction, that becomes what? Y out of x. If I have a over b and find reciprocal, that becomes what? B out of what? A. This is what we call reciprocal. So in that line, 7 goes to self 1, 7 goes to 14 what? 2, right? So we are getting what? 5 out of what? 8. So 1 will multiply 5 and 4 will multiply 2, and we are getting 5 out of 8. And that should be option what? B. That should be option B. So let's take note of that. Question number 32. We are asked to simplify this. Simplify this. Square root of 10 square minus 6 square. So what are we getting? You have your square root of what? 10 square minus what? 6 square. So here you can think about what we call your difference of two squares, or go straight away to say that 10 square is what? 100, 6 square is what? 36. Or you go by using the difference of two squares approach. For difference of two squares approach, if I have a square minus b square, I can write this as what? A plus b, then a minus what? B. So we can use that here by saying that here is going to give us what? Square root of what? 10 plus what? 6 multiplying what? 10 minus what? 6. All right. So at the end of the day, 10 plus 6, we are getting 16. Multiplying what? 10 minus 6, we are getting what? That of what? 4. And put in your square root. So 4 multiplying 16, we are getting what? 64. So square root of 64. So what is square root of 64? We are getting what? 8. We are getting 8. And that's going to give us what? 8. And we have that to go what? A. Or better still, 10 square is what? 100. 6 square is 36. So we take the difference between the two. We are getting 64. And then square root is we are getting what? 8. It's the same thing actually. So let's take note of that. Now question number 33. We have to find the value of negative 3 into bracket 4 squared. So here, bracket first. So we have what? Negative 3 into bracket 4 square. 4 square. So we deal with the bracket first before we come with the outside. So 4 square is what? 4 square is what? 16, right? So you're going to have 3 multiplying what? 16. And what are we getting? You're getting negative what? 48. Calculator work, and you are good to what? Go. So we have for negative 48. You have negative 48, and that's going to be C. Now, question number 34. We are asked to divide. We have this expression 4 divided by 2 or into bracket 6 minus into bracket minus 5 multiplying what? 3. So we're going to deal with the bracket what? First. Bracket first, that's the board mass approach. Bracket first. So we have what? We have 4 divided by what? 2. Then we have a big bracket 6 minus 5 multiplying what? 3 multiplying 3 bracket close. So let's deal with this. So let's deal with the inside item first, okay? So first of all, we deal with the bracket first, right? By taking into account, because after the bracket, we move on to what? The off or the multiplication, right? So let's deal with that and let's see. So when we multiply that of what? Negative what? 5 by 3, we are getting what? Negative 15, right? So we're going to have here to be 4 divided by 2 into bracket 6 minus, and we are getting what? Minus what? 15. Okay, so bracket close. All right, so at the end of the day, we have negative here, we have negative, that's going to give us a positive. So we have 4 divided by 2 into bracket 6 plus what? 15, right? And what are we getting? So 6 plus 15, right? We are getting what? 20 what? 1. We are getting 20 what? 1. We are getting 21. So let's see. We are getting 21, right? So if you are getting 21, that's going to give us 4 divided by what? 2 multiplying what? 21. And what are we getting at the end of the day? Let me bring it here. We have 4 divided by, so what are we getting? 2 multiplying 22, we are getting what? 42, right? So 4 divided by 42, what are we getting? What are we getting? Let's see. Let me pick my calculator and let's see if that is true. So 4 coming. So in my case, I had 0.095. So let's see. Yeah, so I had, when I divided, I had what? 0.09523 and other numbers in that line. So ask yourself, do you see any of these options in no? And that should go for what? None of what? Of this. So that should be what? E. So let's take note of that. Now, question 35. We have 10 to the power of 3, all divided by 10 to the power of what? Negative 2. This is actually what we call the law of indices. When we have equal base, so we have equal base is what? 10. So when you have equal base, to deal with this, we subtract the numerator exponents from the denominator exponent. So when I have, say, x divided by y, this is not equal base. So when I have, let's say, x power of 2 divided by what? X to the power of, say, 4. Now, I want to solve this or simplify this. I will say that since they have equal base to be x, I'll take the x and I'll subtract this denominator, which is 4, from what? The 2. So that becomes 2 minus 4. At the end of the day, I'm getting what? X to the power of what? Negative 2. So that's what we are talking about here. So here too is going to give us what? 10 to the power of 3. You subtract the denominator from the numerator. So that becomes what? Minus. Remember, it's always having a negative already. So we bring the minus again. So this is the main subtraction that we are having, right? Subtract that, the negative 2 from the positive 3. So then we're going to result to what? Negative, negative, and we are getting what? 10 to the power of what? 5. 3 plus, cos negative, negative, negative going to fetch you positive. So 2 plus 3, we are getting what? 5, right? So that becomes what? 10 to the power of what? 10 to the power of what? 5. 10 to the power of 5. Do you see any of these here? No. So we go for what? None of these, and we are good to go. Then question number 36. How many fifths? How many fifths? Please pay attention here. How many fifths are there in 4.8? By fifths, we mean 1 over 5. That is 1/5 of what? A number. So 1/5, you're asking of how many 1 over 5s are there in what? 4.8. So for us to know that, then we need to divide 4.8 by what? 1 over 5. By that, we will get to know the number of fifths in what? 4.8. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We say that 4.8 divided by what? 1 over 5. So I can write this as what? 48 over what? 10. Okay. Divided by 1 over 5. Remember, these are two fractions that they are dividing. So find reciprocal of the other, right? So that becomes 48 out of 10. And find the reciprocal of 1 over 5 is going to give us, once you find the reciprocal, the division sign change to multiplication, and that becomes what? 5 out of what? 1. So 5 goes to itself 1, it goes to what? It goes to 10 or 2. Okay. So 2 goes to 48 how many times? 24. So you are getting what? 24. So actually, the number of fifths in 4.8 is what? 24. And that should fetch you what? A. That should fetch you A. So let's take note of that. Question 37. We have 22r minus 15x minus 3r plus x. 3x is going to fetch us what? So here we want to test our algebra. So we want to group what? Like terms, right? So we have 22r and we have what? Minus 3r. So bring that one here. Then we have minus 15x, okay, plus what? 3 x. So what is happening here? At the end of the day, what are we getting? When you subtract 3 from 22, we are getting what? 19. So we have what? 19r. Okay. Then we have negative 15x and we have positive what? 3x. So when you subtract 3 from 15, we are getting what? So when we, yeah, that is negative 15 plus 3. When we take the operation between the two, we are getting what? Negative what? 12x. Negative 12x. 12x. So I don't know, we're going to have 19r minus negative for 12x. And that should fetch you option what? D. That should fetch you option D. So let's take note of that. Now, question number 38. So here too, the same law of indices approach. When we are dividing, we have equal base, we subtract the numerator exponents from the denominator. We subtract the denominator exponent, from the numerator exponent. We subtract the denominator exponent, okay, from the numerator exponent. So here it becomes what? A to the power of 6 minus what? 2, okay, and we are getting a to the power of what? 4, which is the same thing as a multiplying a multiplying a multiplying a, having a power of 1 1 1. So by law of indices, when the bases are the same, we add the powers. That's why we're getting what? 4 here, right? So let's take note of that. That's going to give us option what? A. So these are very important when it comes to our fundamentals. Now we have what? 3x. So we have 3xy squared all into bracket close with the power of what? 3. This is what we call exponential what? Law. Exponential law. So per exponential law, if I have, let's say if I have AB all to the power of n, this can also be written as what? A to the power of n, B to the power of n. So the power will actually multiply the powers of what? The various terms under consideration. I hope that is clear. So here, here's what we're going to do. We say that 3 will take what? 3, the power of 3, okay? And then multiply by x also take what? The power of 3. And then y squared is also what? Will take the power of what? 3. This is what we are talking about, exponential what? Law. So we multiply the exponent. So what are we getting? At the end of the day, 3 cubed, we are getting what? 27, okay? Then x cubed, we are getting what? X cubed. Then y to the power of 2 multiplying another. So these are two powers multiplying itself. We are getting what? Y. So 2 multiplying 3, we are getting what? 6. We're going to have 27 x cubed y to the power of what? 6. 27 x cubed y to the power of 6. And we are getting what? C. These are very important when it comes to the fundamentals. And please, let's make sure we get it right. If you haven't liked the video, do all to like and then share it out. If today is your first time on this channel, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and then share it out. Let's take our last question and then we kick off from this lane. So we have 1 over a plus 1 over b. So this is what we have. 1, which is what? 1 over what? A plus 1 over what? B. All right. So to deal with this, let's deal with what the divisional expressions here first. So this is what we're going to do. We'll say that we have 1, okay, and then we find the LCM here. So what is happening here? So LCM of A and B is going to what? AB, okay. So A goes to itself what? 1, and we have B. So the B will multiply the numerator here, and we are getting what? B. B goes to itself here 1, and then 1 will multiply what? The A here. So we have what? A here. Is that okay? So I don't really, we're gonna have here to be what? B plus A or A plus B. Remember, addition are commutative. If I have B plus A, the same thing as A plus what? B. And then divide all by what? AB. So you realize that you're going to have here to what? 1 out of 1, okay, and then divided by A plus B out of what? AB. I hope you agree with that. I hope you agree with me on this division, because the 1 here, how the main division can also be written as 1 out of 1. And then divided by what? A plus B over AB. So here too, we have 1 out of 1. We find the reciprocal for the denominator, and that should be what? After that, the division sign should be changed to what? Multiplication. And we are getting what? AB divided by what? A plus what? B. So when we multiply this, we are getting, when 1 multiplying AB, you are getting AB. When 1 multiplying what? A plus B, you are getting what? A plus what? B. So at the end of the day, we need to have AB all over A plus what? B. And that should be option what? B. That should be option B. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. So that is actually the basis when it comes to the overview and nature of business mathematics with business application. So if you have any question, you can bring it on board whilst I explain it out for you to actually appreciate what we want you to understand. So this revision exercise 2 that we have actually gone through right now. So we're taking the next step of that will involve more of what web problem in relation to what the overview and nature of business math. So if you have any question, you can drop in the comment section. If there's no any other question, then we'll bring the discussion of today's session to this far end. And then I will see you in the next live section where I bring to you other tutorials for you to appreciate it all. Also, we have started with our online registration concerning our paid master class. So if you want to enroll, you can check the details that is scrolling on your screen there, and then you get actually our number. Okay, let me put the number here for you so that if you want to contact and then make an arrangement, you get that. That is 0. Let me be sure so that you get it right. Let me show the screen here so that you take it off. Let me see. Come in. So you can contact us so that you WhatsApp us and then we'll take it from there. That is 0 5 0 0 9 1 0 978. Okay, I think it is up to that. Yeah. So if you're outside the country, it is +233, then 0 5 0. Okay. 0 9. I think that is correct. Yeah. 0 9 1 0 7. Sorry. 1 0 9 7 what 8. Let's see. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Yeah. So can use this as our short code. If you are within the country, you can also WhatsApp us on this line. If you want to enroll in a class, we'll be glad to receive you and then take you through so that we'll take you through all the course and get the full content of the course concerning business mathematics. If there's no any other question, then we'll call it a day and then we'll end here for today. So thank you very much for actually joining us today in our live section. I'm grateful for having you here. So please do well to share the video out and then let's get more engaged in that line. Okay, Solomon is saying I have a question. Please, I have a question, but it is not related to this topic. Let's see. It's not related to this topic. Then which one are you talking about so that we'll take it from there and then end the discussion today. If you have any concern, you can WhatsApp us concerning our classes and other related issue. You can take the number here 050 09107978. If you're outside the country, that's 2 +233 05 0910 and then we'll be glad to take you from there. So thank you for joining us in today's section. So I'll see you in the next section where we discuss other. Bye-bye.